Hello dears, this is teacher Muntaha with you. Here we are making the video for 9th grade and we'll start with the literature book, the thing that we arrived until page 146 if you remember. We will continue the rest of the story, which is titled By the Lady or the Tiger, and please I will ask you to open page 146 to me and focus on the last part or the last section of the story, which is started by the more we think. Again, the last paragraph, the more we think about this question. Now you will listen to this section, start from page 146 and ending with 147. Listen carefully and follow up in your book.
The more we think about this question, the harder it is to answer. It means we must study the human heart, something that is very difficult to do. Think about this. She was a wild and savage princess whose soul was burning with jealousy and hate. She had lost her lover. Should another woman have him? How often during the day and in her dreams she had thought about the tiger leaping out with its cruel, sharp claws. Then she covered her face with her hands and was filled with horror. But how much oftener she imagined him at the other door. She pictured his look of delight as he saw the lady. Her soul burned in agony as she saw him rush to the woman she hated. She could hear the glad shouts of the crowd and the bells ringing wildly. She imagined the priest marrying the couple right before her eyes, while she sat there helpless and in pain. Then she clenched her fists and tore her hair. Would it not be better for him to die at once? And yet, that awful tiger, those shrieks, that blood. She had given her answer in an instant, but it had been made after many days and nights of anguished thought. She had known she would be asked. She had decided what she would answer. And without the slightest hesitation, she had moved her hand to the right. Now the question I leave to you all is this: which came out of the opened door? The lady or the tiger?
So, as you see in your book, page 146, the last section of this story, we discussed it before when we started to talk about the end of this story, that is talking about a very important element of this story, which is the conflict. And we talked about the conflict, so you should remember what do we have about the conflict. We said that the conflict is the struggle or difference of opinion between characters. And we introduced it before in the story between the characters of the lady and the tiger. Now, in this paragraph, from the more we think until the end of this page, again we're introducing something about human heart, something about what do we have inside each and every human when it's related to their heart or to his or her heart. We're discussing something about the princess, and she is the character where we are talking about what do we have inside her heart, about her feelings toward the slave or the youth or the young man. And we said that her heart was filled with hatred and jealousy of the lady that stood behind the door. Moving to page 147, again, the last page, if you started with how often during the day until the paragraph here, we can identify from these lines that the princess was so much angry, so much stressed because of what's happening inside the arena with her lover or with the slave. So we introduce something about what is happening inside her, about the inner conflict. Again, the inner conflict. You should know what do we have about the inner conflict, or what do we mean by the inner conflict. You can answer this question because you know that the inner conflict again is the struggle, but at this time it takes place in the mind of a character. And here the character that has the inner conflict inside is the princess. So as you see, we have some highlighted vocabulary for you. Sharp claws, where we are talking about the tiger, and agony, that the princess was filled with a pain because of what is happening inside the arena. We have the word priest, when she imagined them marrying each other, and this thing will make her very angry. Again, the word helpless, as you can see, when she started to be helpless, she cannot do anything, and she started to do things that identifies or give us the image that she's angry and she's not okay at all. The last section started with would it not be better, until the end of this story. It talks about the question that we introduced before, whether the princess told or signed to the door that has the lady behind or that has the tiger behind. And this question, you have to think about it, because you will be asked to write a paragraph about your opinion, whether it is the tiger or the lady that stood behind the door that she told the slave to open it. Now, for your study sheet, your literature study sheet, we are on page 4, finishing the last part or the last section of your vocabulary from 104 until 112. You have the words. I'll read them to you again. Jealousy, again, jealousy. We have hate, sharp, claws, agony, priest, helpless, fist, and shrieks. Now, I will introduce them to you as flashcards next, when we finish doing some of the exercises or the questions. And you should memorize the whole vocabularies in Arabic and English meaning, and moving to the questions that you have, question number 1, 2, and 3, until question 11. Until question 11. We have introduced them before, just read them and try to memorize them. The last question that we discussed today, where does the inner conflict take place in the story? And of course, you know the answer, that the inner conflict takes place in the mind of the princess. Now, we'll move to do the exercises or the questions that we have for the story. As you see, we have page 149. So you will have to choose the correct answer for some of the questions and some of the vocabulary and some idioms. You can take a screenshot for this page and do them in your book and try to answer them alone before you look at the answers. They are very easy for you, I'm sure. So we'll move to 150. And here we have the questions depending on what happened in the story. Maybe you can find some of them on your study sheet and some of them are not, so you will answer them by yourself on your book. Try to answer without looking so you can see the, or you can find the answer alone. I read them to you. Number 1, what happened when the king wanted something to be done? It was done at once. It was done at once. Number 2, what was behind one of the doors in the king's arena? There was a tiger or a lady behind one of the doors. Number 3, what was behind the other door? There was a lady or a tiger behind the other door. Number 4, why was the king's arena so popular with the people? They never knew what they were going to see, So there was a lot of suspense. Number 5, with whom did the princess fall in love? The princess fell in love with a servant. Number 6, describe the slave as he entered the arena. The slave was tall, handsome, and proud. Number 7, who was the lady behind the door? She was one of the most beautiful ladies. 8, how did the princess feel about the lady behind the door? She hated the lady behind the door. Number 9, in which direction? Yes, number 9. Okay, in which direction did the princess point? The princess pointed to the right. 10, which door did the young man open? He opened the door on the right. Next, on page 151, moving to the new vocabulary you have in the story, you have a box out of 8 words: throne, waver, clang. The first one is throne. The second one, waver, clang, solely, suspense. This word is suspense, custom, administering, and existence. If they are not clear for you, you can open the book and see them clearly. Number 1, page 151. So number 1, since the people never knew what they were going to see, there was lots of suspense. Suspense. Number 2, iron bells began to clang when the man was found guilty. Clang. Number 3, the idea of an arena was not new, but the way it was used in the kingdom came solely from the king. Solely from the king. Number 4, the king was very pleased with his method of administering justice. Administering justice. 5, the love affair went on for many months. Then the king discovered its existence. Its existence. 6, the king did not hesitate or waver for a moment. Waver. Waver. 7, the king entered the arena and sat on the royal throne. 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 8, the young man turned and bowed to the king because that was the custom. Now we'll move to page 152, and it's very easy exercise. It's talking about nouns with irregular plurals, and I want to give you an idea about plurals. You know that we have to, if you want to make plural of words in English, we have to add s, but for these words you have irregular plurals that you can't add s for the word. For example, if you look at the sentences that you have from 1 to 10, between the brackets from 1 you have man. You should only write the plural from man, and of course you know that man will be men. So man will be men. Number 2, we have the word woman. Woman, so it's gonna be women, and these very easy words for you. Number 3, you have child, and you know that the plural for the word child is children. 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 So pay attention now for number 4. You have the word wife, and it ends with fe. So if you want to make the plural from the word wife, you add instead ves. It starts to be wives. Wives. Number 5, you have foot, should be feet. Feet. And number 6, for the word tooth, you have teeth. And 7, it's like the rule for 4, number 4, which is knife. became knives, and leaf, it should be leaves. The word mouse, it should be mice. And the last word, life, the plural is lives. Thank you. Hello again. So we'll continue with the exercises for the story. Now please open page 153. You have exercise D, finding synonyms. Let me remind you with the meaning of synonyms. It's the group of words that have the same meaning, as if that I'm asking you the similar meaning for the words. So you have from 1 to 7 the words that you can see, and you have them also on your literature study sheet. So you can take screenshot of this page and answer them on your book. Next, for page 154, it's exercise E, building sentences. Here we are talking about how to make a compound sentence out of two simple sentences by adding a conjunction in the middle. And we have already introduced this before many times from the first semester until now. And you have the conjunctions only but and or. So you should answer this exercise by adding and, but, or in the middle of the sentence to make one sentence, one compound sentence. Let me remind you, for and, but, and, or, we use and to combine two similar ideas, as you know. We use but to combine two different ideas. And we use or, that we introduce it for the story to make a choice. So take again a screenshot for the page and answer it in your book. By this, my dear students, we have finished the exercises for the story. You should be sure that to memorize whole question and the whole vocabulary and do the exercises rightly in your book. See you soon. Thank you.